I'm going to flip the camera onto the dog so it's not so shaky. And hello. Sorry for the shakiness. It's going to be dark. There's the puppy. We're walking back home. For those of you that are catching the beginning of this live, hi, I'm Valerie. I worked on Gilmore Girls and I share a lot of fun facts from behind the scenes. This is my dog Katie, and every once in a while we go for a walk in the neighborhood, like right now. Come on, kiddo. And hopefully Beck will come in and tell us if the sound is okay. Beck, do we have good sound? Can you hear me? Hello again. Can you hear me? Are we good? Oh, it's Heather. Heather, can you hear me okay? Can you hear me? Sounds good. Awesome. Okay. So we're just walking back. It's going to be a little bit of a walk, just like it was a little bit of a walk there. And if more people join, we can play the Gilmore Girl guessing game. Otherwise, you can ask me any question about the show, and I will try to answer it as I walk back. Look, there's chairs. You can just sit outside. I'm curious if the chairs, I think the chairs stay here all year. Not exactly sure how that works. I think there's people that hang outside. I like when you can see like shadows. Oh, here. We're at the Dragonfly again. And there's okay. Well, that was fun. I'm so glad we got to see his business during the height of Christmas season. You found the perfect tree topper? It's sold out? You mean at Eva's? Well, you know what? Keep it in mind for next year. Maybe they'll have it again. Katie! There's a white car that's been just cruising all night. Yeah, you should. You never know. And also, like, they might have it next year. The big problem was because of the tariffs, they had to order like a ton of stuff. And I don't know how much other shipping, stuff they're buying again. But I would expect they would have it again. Now, Kyle, are you only following me before on YouTube? I mean, on Facebook? Or were you also following me on TikTok? Because I don't remember your name on the other apps. Oh, on TikTok. Oh, okay, awesome. What's your name over on TikTok? Just so I don't ignore you after we've spent an entire hour and a half walk. Argyle, okay. Okay, I'll make sure to say hi next time. Well, you make sure to say hi. I appreciate all the engagement. So, did you guys like the Gilmore Girls guessing game? Have you played it before? It's a fun game. I like playing it, but my big problem is I'm not as big of a huge fan as everybody else, so I don't know everything. And so when I pick something, it's almost just as hard for me to be able to answer your questions as you love Gilmore Girls you finished earlier this year for your rewatch. It's sometimes harder for me to get the answers, like to be able to answer your questions, because I'm like, I don't know, I have to like think about it. Like so a lot of times I have to like research before I actually ask you or think of whatever the thing is that I'm thinking of. You played one other time? Yeah, I don't play it all the time. I need to, like, if I were smart about things, I would focus a little less on my making every single video I make perfect, play the game more, and get people more into playing the game, like on a maybe weekly basis, where we play like once a week, with regularity. And then on the, like, get into more of a routine with, you know, every Monday, drop a episode watch, or every this day, do this. The problem is if I ever do go back to work, which could possibly happen, I don't know if it'll ever happen. But if I do, it ends up making it so I don't know when I'm going to be doing other things. Reminds me of your grandfather. Yeah. Ed was an amazing person. There's Katie. Give dog grass and they will find a place to pee on it. Yep. Every time. Come on, kiddo. Let's go. We got a lot more legs to cover. Katie, we got lots of places to cover. Come on, kiddo. Katie, we got blocks and blocks to go. We're not there. We're not even close yet. You're wanting to start your making YouTube videos, mostly comedy. My first video would be about the things you've heard being 6'8". Are you 6'8"? I worked with a guy. I was working on a movie down in Mexico, and the guy was 7 feet something. His name is Ian White, and he played one of the, I call them the puppet kind of characters, like the ones where they are so heavily in makeup and prosthetics that they are like inhabiting. I forget what character he played, but he played, and he's an actor. Like, they're not actors, but they basically, a lot of what they are doing is acting in giant creature suits. He was, I think, Predator in Creature or something. I don't know. I don't remember his name, but I remember like working with him on a show, and we were down in Mexico, and everyone is kind of typically much shorter, and so they were just like having a ball, like, oh my God, you're so tall. And it'd be like you could take 3 of one person and it would make one Ian. I felt so bad for him because where we were filming, the plane, it was like these little tiny planes that would take us. They were like full planes, but they were like little planes. And there was no room. And I'm like, how do you fly? And he lives in England. I'm like, how do you fly all the way from England to Mexico and not have a full-on panic attack being giant in these tiny, tiny planes? I always thought it was interesting in the credits that it would say guest starring, yeah. The reason it said that was because it was contractual. He had it in his contract. That way, if he got a better gig, he got a movie, he got something else, he could go and he could do whatever he needed to do, and then he could come back. most normal shows would not allow their regular cast member to just leave. So it was a loophole, sort of, that allowed him a little bit more freedom to be able to do other stuff. Now we're back at that other flower shop. And, well, so they've got their flowers. Those are cute. But you can see the difference in the tiny amount of ornaments they had to the thing that was at the other store. So much stuff, right? So much stuff. That other store has so much. Ed was a already prolific actor by the time he did Gilmore Girls. He had worked on a lot of stuff. And he continued to work on other stuff. Meanwhile, the actors, the only time they got to work on anything is if they were on their hiatus. Like, Lauren wasn't doing movies in the middle of Gilmore Girls. Although one season she did, they had to let her out. In order for her to do this other movie, they had to change the entire shooting schedule to allow her to be able to leave early. That was the last season of Gilmore Girls. That was season 6. Not the last, but season 6. The other store is massive. And I had no idea it existed until a couple years ago when I was riding my bike. And I went, whoa, what is this? Oh my God, this is so cool. We've got to come back and go inside the store one time. Dirty Dancing the other day, and you kept thinking of Emily. Yeah. I think it's fascinating how she got that role, because she wasn't actually originally hired to play that role. She was originally supposed to play something else on the show, and then they didn't really like, or something happened to the other actress that played the role, and then they replaced her with Kelly. That's what I think. Not exactly what the story was. Something like that. So we left our house at 7:22 when we started this adventure. What time is it right now? In California. It was 9:22 in Texas. What time was it in California? It was 10:22 on the East Coast. Although we did stop and walked around and stuff. Hello, Katie. It was 12:42 in the Caribbean. Let's see if I can. Oh, it's 8:43. Well, that's not so bad. We probably walked around there, so it probably took us like 40. There's that car again, the one that's all like lit up. I wonder how many times it's going to pass us by the time we get home. That's like the third time I saw it. I wonder if it's like doing Uber. It's a Sunday, isn't it? Oh my God. I feel so bad for Alex. They have to work in that store every single day for that huge chunk of time. It's 12:42, 11:42. It is 8:44 here. You're starting at the post office? Do you work at the post office? Or do you just have to go there to do stuff? You have orientation tomorrow, or you wait? I guess that's why they close for the entire month of Christmas, after Christmas and Easter. Yes, it is. You got to have some recovery time. It does take them a long time to reset the store so that they can have Okay, wedding dress shop. Tell us what you think. Would you buy? Would that be something you'd wear? Should Lorelai have worn that instead of what she wore? Oh, we're not that far. We're at the place where I get my hair cut. We're only a few blocks away from my house. It looks like packing peanuts. I think it's a little bit more studded than that. It was blurry. Hello, friends. Hello. Is Beck's in here? No, Beck's not in here. There's this restaurant here. It's like a little kind of hole in the wall. It's called Sapon Bakery, and they have these like meat. I live in a very Armenian neighborhood, so there's a lot of Armenian food, and they make these things, and I forget what they're called, but they're like dough and meat and cheese and potatoes and like spices, and they're so good. The one she got at the store. And so I always forget about it though. I need to remember because I want to say it's not Olash. Olash is something else. It's not Borak. Borak is something else. They do sell cheese boraks, but this is something else. I forget what it's called. It's so good. It's just like really, and then they put it in the oven and they heat it up, and it's all nice and good and spicy and kind of good. When we get home, I will be ending the live. I might go back live on TikTok. I'm not sure. I do need to take a little bit of a break. We're about 2 major blocks. Well, not blocks. What do they call it? From one light to another. We're about a light and a half. Oh no, we're about 3 lights or so away from my house. Not too far. Eastern community here. We have some we have a lot of it's a very heavily Armenian, and Armenian kind of covers a large area. Like, so there's Russian Armenians, there's Greek Armenians, there's Lebanese, there's Armenians from Armenia, there's everything across the board in this area. So it usually smells really good in my neighborhood. When you're like walking by, you're like, that smells good. A lot of good food is usually being cooked. Yeah. Gotta find a mama. Like a really old mama. Yes, they are. Although the mom's not, so you're not getting like the culture necessarily. Culture is always passed down from the yeah. What's funny is like where I grew up. Now I'm gonna find out later in life that like there were a bunch of people that were Armenian, but where I grew up, I didn't know about anyone that was Armenian. It wasn't even something I knew about. And I didn't even grow up that far away. Most of the people where I grew up were either, like, there were Italians, Irish, German, Japanese, Korean, like everybody was, it was like a full melting pot when I grew up there. Nowadays it's more Asian and Latin because just it's like a rich neighborhood and a poor neighborhood and a lot of different people mixing, but it's more melted. Like everybody's more melted. When I was a kid, it was like literally like different families. Nobody, it wasn't like I don't know, it was kind of great in a way because it wasn't like, it was like you could experience everything and everything. We had everything in our neighborhood, culturally speaking. There were just so many different, like when we went to school, they did this thing where you were like, you had to pick like an ethnicity, like a country to represent. And there literally was a kid from like almost every country. That family had immigrated from there. And I thought it was really cool to have that upbringing. But it's interesting because like throughout the world, you don't have that. Like you have so many people who have never seen another person that looks different than themselves. Maybe some others need to... Oh, you're Irish, French, Italian, Mexican, and Native American. You're a mutt of a lot. It's so many, yeah, we're all melted at this point. Oh, let's go, Katie. You're mixed with so many things, yeah. I'm Irish on my dad's side, so it's like Irish and English and whatever. And then my mom's side is Italian. And she's a mix of Italian from Naples and Italian from Sicily. Your dad's mom was a Heinz 57? Nice. It's a good mix. I think it's better when everybody has a little bit of everything. Not a very popular term now. I don't know. I just wish people would be kinder to each other and not. It's hard when you grew up in a time where people didn't have compassion for each other and made fun of each other, but then you, like, that's all you know. You don't think about it. It's kind of an interesting mix. It's like, I don't know that people were necessarily... Words are important, like the words you choose. But sometimes those words are just the words that people grew up saying. Like, they don't have the intention behind it as being a negative thing. They don't understand the negativity behind certain words because culturally speaking, they grew up in a time where that's just a word. It wasn't, you know. Yeah, this one's got a Christmas tree. But the more we learn about each other and what we've gone through, it's crazy, this world. It's crazy, I tell you. I don't think it's a bad term. But it makes me think of, like, if something's not used now, it makes me think of the words that we don't use now. And how sometimes, like, silly, common things that we used to say were not meant, were, like, meant as something else. It was meant as a negative thing. And you're like, oh, that's so weird. That's... Like, it wasn't my intention to say it that way. You know what I mean? But I think there's so many people who will always choose to see someone, the way someone interprets something as being negative without getting to know why they say it a certain way. It's like that's just what we grew up saying. That was the term. And then there's so many people who, because they've been saying it a certain way for so long, will never learn how to say it the way other people want them to say it. It's just hard. Words are hard. We are almost home. I'm not saying this in a bad way, but life in the 90s before we won't ever be able to live like that with like technology. It's it's so weird. I think about my generation, the generation that grew up kind of somewhat connected to the previous generation, but how much we have had to go through as a generation. Like, I grew up with a rotary phone. Connected, hardwired to my, and then we didn't even have an answering machine. And then we got Touchstone, and then we got an answering machine, and we had black and white TV, and then we had color TV, and then we had cable. But before we had cable, we had an Atari. Like, there's so many things that have changed in the time. Like, if you dropped me into this world, I'd be like, oh, this is not what we were promised. We were promised flying cars and push-button automatrons of food that was going to be delivered to us, and very highly decorated things, like very deco-looking things. Very weird, because you have to think of how we said no. I was going to say that. So Jetsons, yeah. It's a weird. It's wild. Yeah, and the closest we have to the Jetsons is Waymo cars that fuck up in the middle of intersections in San Francisco that cause traffic jams because 4 of them get into a car accident. Like, they're not perfect. And we want to trust AI with our technology when we can't even trust AI to tell the truth. It's kind of crazy to think that AI lies. If you had said that statement back in the time that I grew up, what would that mean? It wouldn't even mean anything. AI. What would we think of that? These are the thoughts that come into my head when I go on a walk. As a guy, I have to think of what I say before I say it, and I don't want anyone to be misunderstood. I know, it's like, ultimately, it's hard. I keep hoping for a day where everyone is homogenized past everyone being evil towards each other. Where things could just be normal for a minute. VR. What did I miss? What did I remember? VR was scary. Now AI is scary. AI. Virtual reality. Oh, yeah. My neighbor always has good lights. They're the only ones that really do anything special. Oh my God. This is the first year our new neighbor has a tree in the window. I love that. Come on, we're going home. We're going home. Come on. We're almost home. So I think about everything like 5 times before anything comes out. You know, it's just weird growing up in a time where literally if you took the language that I used as a child and tried to like use that against me now, obviously we lived in a different time period. And I feel like that's one thing that our time just never. I always hate when people go back in time and go, you said this in 1957. You're like, yeah, because that's the way people talked in 1957. That's the way people talked in 1990. Like context is everything. This is what they were taught. This is how they survived. Was it right? No. Okay, Katie. If you have to go potty, do it now. Otherwise, we're going inside. Okay. Inside, Katie. We're living with our sister in her townhouse. My parents. It's almost finished being built, and we can't decorate. Okay. Hello, Katie. Hello, Katie. You went on a very long walk. How are you feeling? You want water? Go get water. Okay, we are home, friends. We're home. We're going to pop out. We'll see you guys later. Might go live later on TikTok if you're around. Come and say hi. Otherwise, go to sleep. Watch my other videos. We'll see you later. Katie, like Katharine Hepburn, Kate. Katie, like, not like Katy Perry because she spells her word. Katie. Katie. We'll see you later. Bye. You're welcome.